Trump wasn't even at the game this time, and yet still the president got a decidedly less than warm response when his campaign's ad aired on the big screen during Game 7 of the World Series. The reaction came at a watch party at National Stadium, since Game 7 was played in Texas, and you'd have thought that the administration would know better than to try and promote Trump to the people of DC after what happened only days ago. Not every day you witness someone's soul getting crushed in real time. But these reactions had to have been especially jarring for Trump, considering it was the first time he'd been able to experience how actual Americans who aren't his desperate rally-goers feel about him. In fact, Trump going to National Stadium was one of, if not the only time that Trump's been out in public in DC. Prior to the World Series, Trump had never been to any Washington sporting event. He hasn't even eaten at a DC restaurant that doesn't have his own name on it. And I've never been great at predicting the future, but something tells me this probably isn't the beginning of a new trend. But you really don't have to look any further than the ad that Trump aired in the stadium itself as a reason for why he gets such a dismal reception. It was just lies. I won't share the ad, but it's essentially a smear campaign against Democrats. He says the line, "The Democrats would rather focus on impeachment and phony investigations, ignoring the real issues." Only, shocker, none of that is true. Democrats would rather not focus on impeachment, but the fact that the President of the United States is physically incapable of not committing crimes in broad daylight kind of forced their hand. In fact, Trump effectively got away with it the first time. Despite proof that his campaign cooperated with Russian officials looking to help him win in 2016, despite a 2-year investigation showing 10 instances of obstruction of justice, impeachment wasn't going to move forward. All Trump had to do was not conspire with a foreign country to interfere in our election for a second time. That's it. It's not hard, just don't do it. And yet he couldn't help himself. He withheld taxpayer-funded military aid to extort Ukraine into doing his political bidding. He tried to cover it up by hiding the transcript of the call in a secure server. He obstructed justice by blocking his officials from testifying to Congress. He then asked China in broad daylight to open an investigation. He got caught having asked for help disproving the Russia probe from Boris Johnson in the UK and Scott Morrison in Australia, and just sent his attorney general to Italy for the same reason. So no, Democrats would rather not have to focus on impeachment, but when the president can't control his compulsion to commit crimes, then we don't exactly have a choice now, do we? And yet still Democrats have managed to pass over 200 bills out of the House, none of which have been taken up by the Republican-led Senate. Bills like H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Universal Background Checks Act of 2019, which passed the House in February and has been languishing in the Senate ever since. H.R. 987, the Strengthening Healthcare and Lowering Prescription Drugs Cost Act, passed the House in May and hasn't been taken up in the Senate. H.R. 1, which would secure our elections. H.R. 5, the Equality Act, which provides anti-discrimination protections for LGBT Americans. Legislation to protect Dreamers, to restore net neutrality, the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act, all passed the House and haven't been taken up in the Senate, led by Mitch McConnell. So Trump might howl about how Democrats are not focusing on the real issues, but only one party in Washington is still working to pass legislation, while the leader of the other is live tweeting Fox News broadcasts onto Twitter. So the White House can continue to pump its disinformation onto the airwaves and social media and into stadiums, but the vast majority of Americans can easily see through his lies, which is why the only reasonable response is just to boo.